What up, world? What up, world? What up, world? You are in tune to another marvelous talk podcast with your main man, Mod, your main man, G. And what's up to Dame? Dame had just had an event of a lifetime. His baby girl just graduated from college, you guys. Let's give it up for Dame, man. Let's give it up for Dame.
All right, man, give it up for my daughter. It's actually my middle daughter, man. But I'm blessed because next month my baby daughter will be graduating too, man. So it's just a great time in the household, man. We're really happy.
Great time, man. And listen, we are at a place where I found myself singing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday." You know, we have came to the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And definitely we got some things to talk about and unpack from the end of that. But before we get into that, I just want to know, and I got to tell everybody, hey, listen, if you have not watched this week's show, the last one of Falcon and Winter Soldier, please, Dane, tell them what they should do.
First of all, you need to just leave this podcast for now. Don't leave it for indefinitely, but leave it for now. Go back and watch it. In fact, if you haven't watched any of the episodes out, you can binge watch them now because they're all up there. But check it out and then come back and get into the commentary because we're gonna do some deep dive into this one, y'all. So, like I said, you know, don't spoil it for yourself.
Please. So just stop right now. Go watch it. Come back. I don't know why you haven't watched it. Right. But go watch it and come back in here, man. Definitely. We got some good stuff. The other thing we want for you guys to do, man, is definitely like and subscribe. If you like the content that you are getting from us, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, because definitely we're doing it for you and yours. And man, listen, and this week's last show of Falcon and Winter Soldier, it started out with a bang. It was full energy. And we know that last week, Carly and the Flag Smashers were all together and they were planning this big coup on the GRC meeting. Mm-hmm. And definitely they're planning this big coup and they had everybody in there saying their credo, one world, you know, one people, and everybody's all excited and you know, they think they're about to do it. Now, I have to start this show off by saying Zemo's a freaking genius, man. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about Zemo, but he's a genius, man. And literally, I know in my heart that Zemo had played this whole thing out. He planned on getting captured. He planned on doing what he did, and he planned on making some stuff happen, and we're going to talk about that later, man. But Zemo, I mean, he's still making his presence felt, you know. So definitely we got this episode starting, and when it starts, we get an opportunity to hear Sam but not see Sam. So we hear him and he's talking to Bucky, and Bucky's walking up, man, and definitely somebody taps him on the shoulder. It's this weird looking person, right? And they're talking to him in a man's voice, but we find out it's her. It's Sharon Carter. Now listen, man. You guys, I'm just going to tell you, man, I'm really bugging out at Sharon Carter right now. I mean, how do y'all feel about this opening scene? We're going to talk about what she did and who the big reveal was that she was. But what are you talking? What did you guys think about how she was moving right here at this moment?
I mean, Sam had already said that he did. Now, I ventured that Sam was the one that called her because he said that there was backup coming. So obviously she came on the scene because Sam contacted her. If you notice that technology, we've seen it before. You notice that the Black Widow used that technology in the Captain America Winter Soldier movie when she was dressed like one of the, I guess, SHIELD agents, one of the older SHIELD people that were on the committee that infiltrated the main part of the SHIELD headquarters. So we've seen that technology. The fact that she still had it was interesting to me. It's like, you know, okay. So she's still making moves. She still has her hands involved in the tech and the things. I mean, she already told us she had access to a satellite in Madripoor episode. So yeah, it's like it was interesting to see that she was on the scene and acting like Agent Carter.
Right.
That's what I got out of it.
How you get in the States though? That's what's tripping me out. Like, how you're wanted? How did you get in the States? And she said, I quote from the last episode: "If I set foot on American soil, I'll be apprehended." How did that happen? Don't know. G, what did you think, man?
True to character, what I've been saying all along. If it shakes its tail like a dog and it barks like a dog, it's a dog. Sharon Carter has been shady from episode 1 all the way back. So I'm not trying to stir up the pot or cause no controversy or talk about my brothers that I share the show with, but Sharon Carter is Shade Tree. She's always been Shade Tree. And check this out. Go back for you comic book heads and do your research on Agent 13 and Agent 14, who we've seen a lot of the new Agent 14 in the MCU recently on this show. Agent 13 and Agent 14 have no loyalty to no person and nobody except for themselves. And so I'm so glad that Marvel is starting to show this side of her, because they had her painted as this beautiful angel because she was from the lineage of Sharon Carter. And when I'm telling you that they are the complete opposite of each other, man, just watch the episodes and see it for yourself. So let's talk about it, fellas, about her being Shade Tree, like I always said. And I need some props because I said it from show
No,
one.
you did.
Yeah, you get it, G. You said it. You called it, bro.
You called it. You said she was the power broker. And I almost went back and took that clip so I could show it and give you your props. Because literally you called it. You said, man, I believe Sharon is the power broker. I just didn't want to believe it. I just didn't want to believe that she was going to ruin the Carter name.
Now I'm going to throw something in there. You said how she got in there. You see she was dressed like that guy. Did she off this guy? Did she get rid of him? Because obviously he was somebody. You know what I'm saying? She took on this form of this agent, whatever he was. But did she off him? I mean, her body count, we're going to get into it, but her body count is pretty extensive in this episode. So I'm not saying, did she off this dude and that was her end to get into America? I don't know. But I don't like G. I mean, she a bad girl, man.
She is,
man. I've been saying it all along. I'm telling you.
You have been saying it. You have been saying it, man. And so here we go. So you hear her, hear Sam talking to Bucky. Bucky, he tells Bucky, hey, look, I brought in some help. She comes in, and here we go. This is where it gets interesting. And this is where we get the big look and the big reveal. He pops the shield through the window, and here he comes. Man, that suit is pretty. Man, that suit is pretty. I mean, for real. So he pops through the window. He gets the dang. He gets the shield back. He stands up. Notice he's not killing nobody with the shield. I just want to put that out there. He's not killing nobody with the shield like this guy. They're not even super soldier. He's not killing. He's not killing nobody with the shield on this one, man. So he gets up, and the guy asks him, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Captain America." Now, one thing I do want you guys to notice, and you out there in TV land, if y'all are watching, I want you guys to notice the crazy thing about this is before, when he was talking on the subtitles, his name was Sam. But when he said after he said I'm Captain America, it changed. You saw it become Captain America. Solid theme throughout the show, and we'll get to more of that later. And so at this point, Backtrack pops in, and he finds out that there are people not moving towards the building. Everybody is staying away from the building. So Sam, Captain America at this point, figures out, hey man, it's one of them things they're trying to get people out of the building. Don't let nobody leave. Sharon's talking about, oops. The shadiness at this point, she knew exactly what she was doing. I mean, believe her.
Please believe her.
At this point, I'm tripping, man. I'm tripping. At this point, I'm like looking at Sharon. I didn't have to see the end. By this point, I was all 100% in Big G's theory that she's the power broker, because she's saying, oops, and then going down to the stairs and looking and as if, the plan's going on schedule, right? So to me, it's like, Sharon, like, what are you doing? You know, you're going against Bucky and he called you in. And I mean, you're going against Sam and he's the one that called you in at this point. So, you know, Sam Backchalk fighting, with him working with the Shield, yo, it looks good. It looks good.
He was getting down with that Shield. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's talk about him in the whole costume for a minute, because I just got to get to it, how beautiful it is. The thing of it to me is I really wanted to see more of the Wakandan, more of the Black Panther come on, come off kind of thing, man. I mean, this was true to the comics. Am I right, Big G? It was definitely true to the comics.
For sure.
But definitely I wanted to see more of that whole thing. What did you think, Dane?
Man, I agree with you. I was hoping that they would have some type of the nanotechnology that Black Panther has. That's what I was hoping to see. But it looks good. I mean, who's to say we might not see some upgrades in it? But yeah, I was kind of upset that they didn't have the nanotechnology built into it. But I guess they figured they don't want him to be as powerful as Black Panther, so we're not going to give him Black Panther tech. But we're going to give you Americanized Wakanda flair in our presentation of the new outfit.
Well, you know, and if you think about this, Tony had some, you know, suits that started out one way and then ended out a different way, right? You know, so at this point, I think maybe it'll end up a little different. It may end up a little different. I mean, we're getting a movie. That's big talks, and we'll talk about that. You know, I'll let Dame get in that because, you know, he's in charge of Marvelous Talk News, so we'll get into that a little bit later. So back into the show breakdown. So now you have Sam and Backchalk getting into it. Bucky gets a phone call from a lady, and it happens to be one of the Flash Masters, the head, and he gets this phone call. Here's my thing, Bucky, you done been around. How old are you now? 175. I'm just saying, you're 106 years old. You don't know diversion when you see it. Like, I mean, come on. When he took the phone, did you Dave, tell me, when he took the phone, did you believe that they were going to have some type of resolution with him talking on the phone? Answer that to me. I just want to know.
Not at all.
Not
at all.
What? For
Not
what?
At all.
It's just, I mean, she was diverting him. She was keeping him. Yeah, she was keeping him from doing the things that he needed to do to kind of get everything together so she could get everybody out of the building. It was one of those things to me that I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Bucky, you 106 years old. You've been doing war for a long time. You know, G, what do you think?
Well, I get it. I get it because the writers, so in the show, the writers wrote two different storylines at the same time. You saw the transformation of Sam Wilson from Falcon, which a person he was comfortable with being, into Captain America. And you also saw the transformation of the Winter Soldier to actually become James Buchanan Barnes. So it's a lot of that old stuff that he knew and that he was familiar with and he was comfortable with. He went from one end of the spectrum to another as far as the character. So like you're seeing James Barnes become a hero right in front of your face.
Very
so some
true.
of that naiveness and newness, that was the rewrite of the character. Because, you know, from this point moving forward, we don't have a villain on our hands no more, y'all. We got a real live hero. The Winter Soldier is on our side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Dane.
No, I agree with G. 100% of what he said is true. You kind of see that that hesitancy to act the way he used to act, but it like you said, Ahmad, it cost him because he realized after he got on the phone with, oh man, she's been playing me. You know, he's like, dang it, you know, she got me, you know, and Sharon like, Bucky, you had one job.
Yeah, one job. And so we get back to Sharon and Bucky. Well, we get back to Sharon and Bucky. And at this point, you know, Sharon's up to a whole shady tricks. She runs into a guy, pops a little bomb on him, and she talking about, yeah, one down. And Sam was like, how did you do that? You know, and basically she was like, yeah, with some mercury and stuff. So she out here killing folks. Like Dave said earlier, her body count just started stacking up. It just started stacking up. Like she was playing the game like Legolas from what is that? Oh man,
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. They were just counting up bodies.
You know, it also makes me think about, you know, really how long has she been playing both sides of the coin? Because, you know, Hydra grew right inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So
Right
how long ago was she recruited and she, you know, she leaning and whispering talking about Hail Hydra? You know, how long ago was that? Because it seems like she's been on this path for a long time. This ain't new behavior.
I think Carly kind of alluded to that briefly in their interaction, because she said something to the effect that when you met me, you were just trying to get back at what they, because I think she basically, her actions is, I'm going to get back at them for what they did to me. You know what I'm saying? Because she tells Carly, you used to be just like me, which meant innocent. You know what I'm saying? And I think she got sick of being the innocent one and was like, okay, I'm going to win. I'm going to win this time at any cost. I'm going to be the one that comes out on top. So that's
definitely I wanted to talk about that quote, Dame, that you bring that quote out, but that was an important quote that I think the writers wanted to highlight during this time, you know, is the fact that she noted the difference between us. You wanted to get back at the world that hurted you. They hurt you, right? You wanted to get at the world because they hurt you. I want to actually fix it. So we still have these duplistic views that we were having each time, man. It was different, right? So the writer had, like Big G said earlier, the writer was putting storyline after storyline after storyline together, right? And so now you see they're out of the building and they load them into these armored cars. They've got them in these armored cars and they put the a little lock on the door. So there's it's like a deadbolt kind of thing that they put on the doors, and the people drive away, right? So they're gone and they're out. And here comes Bucky. I love this, man. I loved it because it was a throwback in my mind from Civil War. You had Bucky grab a motorcycle, jump on that bad baby, and go to work. I mean, he's surgical on these motorcycles, man. I mean, what did y'all think of that scene?
That was dope.
Hey, check this out. I want to tell y'all something about that scene we saw, right? So you saw Sharon Carter throw this little ball and it had green mist and it went up underneath the tables and the chairs, right? And then you saw one of the other flag smashers put this 8-pronged thing on the back of the door and lock it tight. I don't know about y'all, but they waste nothing in the Marvel Universe. That ball looked a lot like something that come from Oscorp technology. And that little lock looked a whole lot like a 8-handed thing, which we talking about that Doc Ock uses. So I don't know. I'm thinking that the person that's running with Sharon Carter could possibly be Norman Osborn. And he's giving her technology and all kind of other stuff to get her what she needs. Because there's nothing in that universe, you know?
Yeah, and we don't know who she's working with. We definitely don't know who she's working with. So, I mean, it very well could be, G. It very well could be. Not trying to get ahead in conspiracy theory, you know, we can do that. I mean, just go back and look at our conversation from WandaVision. I mean, definitely, we got off on a whole bunch of different tangents. We still looking for Mephisto at this point. We ain't found him. We still looking for him.
Mephisto and the winner Mephisto.
Yeah, the winner Mephisto. We can't find him. So definitely at this point, we see Bucky on the motorcycle. And the last time we saw him on a motorcycle, he had snatched it from somebody and threw his body on it, which was dope. But he's on this time. What he does is he goes up on his front wheel and flies into one of the flag smashers. Man, if I tell you that I didn't think that was one of the dopest scenes that we saw, that was so dope. It was fire. Now, before this, of course, they had told Sam, you got to go. The helicopter's about to leave. And we'll get to that helicopter scene here pretty quick. But Bucky engaging the flag smashers here, I expected, I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier is definitely, to me, in my book, even though these are other super soldiers, they can't hold a candle to the Winter Soldier. But as G said, this was the thing that I found interesting. This man is now transitioning into being James Bucky Buchanan, and he's getting away from the Winter Soldier. So he's not fighting to kill anymore. He's fighting to hurt or to get you away so that he can save people, right? And you saw that in the scene where, he yanks the door open and yanks that off. He was happy to save people, and people were happy that he saved them, and it was a different feeling. You could tell that from Bucky. But the crazy thing with me, you guys, is I'm thinking, man, he's gonna overpower everybody, and the Winter Soldier, nah. It was a really good fight. What'd you guys think about that scene?
Oh man, the fight was awesome. You could see, like you said, that and they took advantage of that, because Carly's like, hey, light it up, because they realized that, as long as he was engaged, their plan wasn't gonna work the way they intended. So they had to raise the stakes by hurt, and that's a sucker move, man. You're gonna hurt innocent people, but that was their ammo, and Bucky, like you said, the heart of the new, Winter Soldier is, I'm gonna help people. He's engaged in helping those people, and we see that played out, man. So that's what I got out of that. That was just awesome, just seeing him, and you see his 180, just the change of who he is and what he does in that situation, and he does what a hero does, man.
Yeah, for sure, Dame. I'm feeling it, but it stays true to the character line of the Winter Soldier. When he's tapping into that raw hate and anger and all whatever else in the programming that the Soviets gave him, that's what Ma's talking about, him being super strong and not fighting to kill. Now we're seeing the hero, and so he's not tapping into that rage and that anger. When you get an opportunity, go back and really check out the Winter Soldier. And I'm actually headed to do a rabbit hole production with our team to give you a real backdrop on the Winter Soldier, so you can see the transformation of the character from the villain to the hero. So one up, a proud or big clap to those who did the production of this storyline, because they set him up perfect.
Yeah, and back to Bucky is fighting and he's doing his thing, and at this point, she, like Dame said, she pulled a sucker move and was like, "Hey, give him somebody to save. Give him somebody to save." I mean, come on. See, Zemo. This is why I say Zemo was right. She was the lost cause. She was gone, and we'll see that. We'll talk about that that interaction between her and Sam here a little bit later. But guess who shows up? Guess who comes to the party? Who wants to come and have some fun? None other than your boy Al Bundy, Make-A-Wish, Captain America. Here you go. He wants to come with his little play shield.
With his Walmart shield.
He done made him a knockoff. See, look, he'll wish Captain America, and he got a wish shield. So you know what I'm saying? They got to work together. If you got him from Wish, you need to get a shield from Wish so they can go together. And he made his Wish shield, and he was throwing it, and of course they were busting it up like a frisbee. If you were a kid and you've ever thrown a frisbee, you could tell you push the frisbee in. That's what they did to his little old polar shield.
Hey, you know what's funny? When he threw the shield at the Carly kicked the mess out of him. Notice, man, she laughed. I was like, oh man, she laughed at the brother's shield.
Hey, it almost brought me back to when you're a little kid and you got this one toy that you always want, and then your parents get you the generic version of the toy, and it don't work. Like you go around your friends and you start playing with it, and theirs works one way and yours works another way. You're like, oh man, I got played.
Got the knockoff version. Got the Michael Jackson jacket with no zippers. He got the shield. It just, they ain't work. They popped it in like a bottle cap. Now, meanwhile, you see this great scene with Captain America. Dope. The helicopter flying. He sees the helicopter. The helicopter takes a nosedive, and it has one of the flag smashers in it. And it's great to see Red Wing back, man. He got Red Wing back, and Red Wing is going. Now, Sean, this was something that I really thought about because Falcon has different powers in the comic book, and they didn't like make Falcon 100% like the comic book, because Falcon had a real Falcon, you know, but Red Wing is kind of the computerized version of that. Does that work for you as a comic book head, man?
Oh yeah, because the one thing about the MCU is that they're combining the regular original run of like the Avengers and the characters, like way back when I was a kid, as far as the writing, but they also are tying a lot of the Ultimates in there. So you're getting the Ultimate Avengers or the Ultimate Avenger line along with the original timeline sort of tied together. And, you know, that makes it fun for people who are young and old who are viewing. You know, like me, you know, I'm almost, you know, well, I ain't gonna say my age, but I'm a little older, you know, a little long in the tooth. So to see these characters come alive is, you know, good for me, but at the same time, it's grabbing those youngsters who are tied to the Ultimate timelines and don't really know a lot about like the original settings of the Avengers and characters that ran with the Avengers. So it works for me for sure. And one up to that technology, that Wakandan, with the face and the recognition and Red Wing being able to split and all that. Oh man, I'm feeling it.
The woman knew how to fly and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
like they gonna. I'm surprised he didn't tell her what a horoscope was.
They probably had that there that we didn't see it. You know, they always have something that we didn't catch.
Right?
You have to see it 5-6 times to see it. But yeah, definitely, he found out who was in one of the senators in the plane had military training, and of course, they knew how to fly the helicopter. So that was a really good thing to see Red Wing be able to do. Now, I could not get past the CGI at this point, man. His wings hitting the water, you know, definitely him doing some flying, and the dude busting shots at him, and he's avoiding them. I'm like, man, okay, Sam, you're really nice with these wings, man. You're really nice. Now, I don't know. Now, we saw in the opening scene him do a lot of great things, right? Because in the opening scene, in the very beginning, first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, you saw this man dodging cliffs and rocks and everything. You know what I mean? So definitely he's a talented pilot, and he's able to fly the way that he should fly. But man, I mean, the CGI, I was blown away.
The Wakanda wings got some flair to them. Notice that when old dude tried to once again do a jack move and knock those big barriers, and it hit him and he went in the water, you notice how he was still able to maneuver those wings with the jetpack under the water. I was like, wow.
Under the water. You know what I'm saying?
Him out with that line. You done earned this A-whipping. I was like, oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you earned every bit of it, and I wasn't mad at him either. I was not mad at it. So, you know, definitely you see at this point the fight still ensuing, and they knock Bucky. Well, first of all, you know, Make-A-Wish, Cap, they're not even super soldiers. You know, he's on the ground getting pummeled at this time. And, you know, you see him keep trying to stay in reality. Agent Walker is trying to literally, during this time, he's literally trying to keep his mind together. I mean, this is not a mentally well dude. He is really suffering from post-traumatic syndrome. I mean, real talk. He got it. It's there. You know, so he's in and out.
He kept closing his eyes. He kept closing his eyes. I'm like, wow, this brother, he's going through.
Something we didn't mention, which I thought, I got to highlight these. You know I do, guys. The writer and what they wrote and what Carly said to him, he said, you know, so I didn't mean to kill your friend, you know, and he was like, you know, we don't kill anybody. His death didn't matter, basically, is what you were saying, you know, and he was like, oh, so Lamar's death didn't matter, you know, what are you saying? Now, I found an interesting parallel that kind of got me to a place, right? These guys, like what Zemo said, he called them supremacists, right? Their supremacy, Carly's supremacy in this statement is wrapped up. It's really sewed up. Because when you're a supremacist, your cause is the only cause that matters. So killing somebody that you don't want to have quote unquote, you don't want to kill them because their death is not significant. It wouldn't mean anything. When you say stuff like that, that's what they don't value life, right? They only us matter. Only we matter. Only my cause matters.
Right.
Which is why Zemo was saying, you can't save her, Sam. She gone.
Yeah.
And she gone. We were holding out hope, and we were hoping that maybe, hope against hope, she would make it. But, that actually fell to the ground. But what did you guys think about that scene? What did you think about what she said, Dane?
Yeah, it rocked me. The whole aspect of, it kind of entered in the word matter. And of course, you think of Black Lives Matter. He was a Black life. And for her to say he didn't matter, so I thought it was awesome the way they spun it in the show, but around, what we're typically seeing played out today. People, getting killed, for no reason. I mean, even if they committed a crime, is the crime, worth dying, worth shooting them or killing them to death? So I just thought that was interesting that they put that phrase in the terms of the show in respect of what we're going through as a society today. So
what'd you think, G?
I'm riding with Dane with this one. I definitely saw the spin, and it's a shame always that, it's not a shame. It's actually a good thing that they brought this out in the show, because they were able to paint a picture of a person who was an extremist or separatist all in one character as far as Carly. And anytime you hear somebody, and it doesn't matter, black, white, red, whatever, when you hear a person make their means justify their ends, you're in a little bit of trouble. And that's really what was going on with her. Her means justified her ends. And she was just justifying, making it seem like her way was right and everybody else's way was wrong. So current in today's climate and today's culture. There's so many people walking around saying that I'm right and you're wrong. So good job, with Marvel.
Yeah, and the other thing about her character at this point, she said another statement ahead of that, where she said they were talking about the plan, and she was like, "Well, shoot, if all else fails, we'll kill the witnesses." And they like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand this. And she's like, it doesn't matter if we die. And that took me back to the barbershop. where in Cedric the Entertainer, he's like, some of them gonna die. And he's like, yeah, some of us gonna die. He's like, whoa. And you can see that look on the Flag Smasher's face. They were like, wait a minute now. We didn't say
we didn't sign up for this.
Yeah,
we didn't sign up for this.
Not at all. And then she said her one world, and nobody said one people.
Silence.
Yeah.
Nobody. And so she got aggravated.
Because it was about her. It was about her at that point. It wasn't even about nobody else. It was really about her getting revenge for everything that she went through, and everybody that she was touched, she lost them. Everybody that touched her, she lost them.
Yeah,
so that's what that was about.
And all of that. And the throwback, when she died, she was still holding the piece that she was holding when Mama Danya died, right? Yeah. So, Carly's arc had went a whole bunch of different places, but we'll get into that. So now you see Bucky come over to help Make-A-Wish Cap, and Bucky gets pushed down into a construction zone where you can see definitely his hand was holding on to the end, and he got down there. And when he got down there, he was joined by one of the Flag Smashers who came down with a pipe. Well, let me not say a pipe. It was a metal beam, and he was ready. He was swinging that thing. It was a parking meter,
bro. It was a parking meter.
Yeah, he literally ripped that off the ground.
He hit him. He tried to hit him with the parking meter, and she got that right. She had that, but he came down with a metal beam because Bucky took the metal beam from him.
You're right.
And blocked him with it. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm like, come on, Winter Soldier, show up. Let's talk. Do your thing, man. And meanwhile, up top, they were still, having some fight scenes with different other people. So Carly is fighting Agent Walker at this time, they're doing some nice choreographed fighting. It was really nice. I mean, I thought that the fighting scenes were really awesome at this point. And so, he finds out that
he was getting with her. That's what I was about to say. He was really getting with her until she did that little karate chop move and knocked him out. But she was getting with him, man.
Say, man, that right hook that she threw put him to nighty-night. He went nighty-night.
Looked like Conor McGregor. Right. UCW. Good night.
Hey, man. She was out of here. But he was out of here. He was asleep. But one of the things that got to me about this is how fast Carly just different place, man. Like, she is hell bent on killing people at this point. She want people to die. And
Bob, that's the theme. That's the theme of the character. That's the whole really theme of the show. The theme of the show. I mean, there's a lot of themes, but one of the big themes is the super soldier formula makes you more of what you are.
That's what you
That was always inside her, man. It was always there. And because once she got power, she was going to do whatever she had to do to get her stuff across and get it on.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It definitely it does in her case. So you see her drive the Jeep or the armored vehicle to the end, and it's about to fall. And so, Make-A-Wish Cap is over here having these flashbacks and dealing with his PTSD, and he finally makes the right choice, and
finally.
Go after Carly or save the people. Put your own agenda away and save the people, right? So he goes to save the people, and he's dragging. You see the super soldier serum in full effect at this point because he's pulling this big old truck back and holding it back. But then here comes Carly and the rest of the Flag Smashers to knock him off of it. Now, this was one of the most triumphant scenes that I love. I love this, man. Sam had already took care of the helicopter by throwing the shield through, knocking Buddy out. And the aforementioned person, I think her name was Ayala, grabbed the controls to the helicopter. So Sam is back, and he grabs onto the armored vehicle. And then he has, where did the second Red Wing come from? Can y'all tell me? Well, I was kind of confused about this.
The Red Wing came up out of his back and it split. Matter of fact, it's the same technology that Tony Stark had in like the Mark IV suit or Mark V suit, and then he showed that same technology again in Infinity War when he needed the super boost to like fly off in the space. The Red Wing has the ability to split in like multiple pieces.
So
that was dope.
So
I don't know.
Is it nanotech?
It's something like that. It's something because it split. It split into two. Matter of fact, it split into two pieces, and then the piece that it came off of him dropped back down on his back, and it like gave him another boost. So he had like 3 sets of boosts pushing that truck back up on the ledge.
Well, no, that's what had me laughing. I'm like, all these super soldiers, this dude ain't got no powers. He saved all these people.
He's handling his business, man.
Yeah,
he's handling his business.
His business.
That's the Black Falcon.
Yeah, and that's what happened. America. He said, "That's the Black Falcon." He said, "No, that's Captain America." You know what I mean? And so you see him push it back up, and once he pushes the vehicle back up, it opens it up. The people start getting out, and then all of a sudden, you see a shield pop everybody on their behind down there, except Bucky. You know what I'm saying? A shield got everybody on their behind, and he lands, and she's like, "Oh, don't tell me you believe in all this stuff." He's like, "Man, I'm trying something different." But think about this, man. Here he is, still trying to save this chick. He's still. Now, this is the character of the man in which Sam, was, and he is. And that's why you saw Steve give him the shield, because he knew that this was his guy.
Yeah,
this was his guy.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about the whole interactions with Sam, and they made a very, very sorted effort to let us see this. the people were experiencing him in action. Whereas they saw Walker kill this dude on foreign soil, they seeing Sam actually representing what Captain America is supposed to be. So I thought that was really interesting that you got to see people's, expressions and them with their cameras filming him doing what he's doing. Because I think that's moving forward. That shows you this is the dude that actually is the real Captain America.
Yeah, very much.
Great point, Dane. Great point. I mean, the whole world watching episode this is just kind of a flip on that whole thing, right? Because you had the whole world watching when he killed somebody. Now you had the whole world watching as he saved somebody. And this is happening all through, because when the helicopter fell and he saved the police helicopter, you saw people around there like cheering him on and like, Captain America, Captain America. So we just like the whole world watched the wrong thing, they got an opportunity to see the right thing. And I totally agree with you on that, Dane. What were you about to say, Big G?
Oh, no, I was agreeing with Dane, man. That was definitely like the flip side of who he is. But, it's like I said, it's true to the comic book, man. So for y'all comic book heads out there, and you can agree with me or not agree with me, Falcon took on a whole depth as Captain America, man. Like his depth of his character in the comic books was unbelievable. Falcon actually sets up Elijah Bradley to take on the mantle of Patriot. So he's like the role model for Elijah Bradley. So his character far outweighs his powers and everything else. So I'm still saying, Steve Rogers, man, you had sight beyond sight. You saw something that people wasn't being able to see, because this guy is true to being the true Captain America, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And then you see Backtrack come back, shooting off his little steam missiles, his little smoke missiles, doing what he do. He's out here totally for chaos purposes at all. That's all he's about right there at this point, is chaos. And then you see a scene of everybody scattering. Sam still sees him. Captain America sees him in his goggles, and he's following him. Now, this was one of the funniest things that I saw. I was laughing so bad because when they split, you saw Agent Walker, Make-A-Wish Captain America, Al Bundy take off running, and you saw Sam kind of look at Bucky like, if you don't go with this fool, go with him. Because some stuff in the pop. It was funny how he looked at him. He was like, I'll go with him. I was like, yeah, man, go with him, please.
He need a chaperone.
Yeah, he cannot be trusted. He can't be trusted at all. So they split. And this is where we learn that we have been deceived this whole time. And Big G was right.
Not me.
Not Big G.
Yeah, this is where we learn that this woman was the power broker. Broke my heart, you guys.
Me too.
Broke my heart.
I still don't believe that I think the power broker, everybody sort of got mad because the spin on it was, and from the comics, was the power broker was really one person. I really think they're still staying true to the comic books, and the power broker is a team of people. But we'll get into it. We'll see. I don't want to start no conspiracy, but I believe it, man. She might be at the head right now, but nah, there's some folks she's working with, man.
It's got to be. I'm curious to see who this person is that she keeps talking to on the phone. Like, who is this person? I mean, we also, to your point, G, we know that there's more than one person involved, right?
You got Val, and then some, could be a. I'm like, man, my mindset is she just doing this because of money? Is she getting money, or is it power, or is a little bit of both of it? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah. I think what Carly said was accurate. She's really trying to get back at the government for what they did to her. You know, I mean, the Carters are proud people. Their name goes back, and it carries weight in the government. So now you see this whole scene where Batroc finds out she's the power broker as well, and he's like, I want 4 times. And she basically told her, look, I don't bargain. It is what it is. And shot him. But
good night.
Carly shot her at the same time. And then you have Captain America walk in and he's trying to reason with her still. He still believes in the good in her. He still believes in the good in her, trying to talk her down off the ledge. But, as Dane pointed out a couple of times before, hey, man, he's a licensed counselor. This is what he does. He's trying to talk her down off a ledge, and she wants no part of it. She wants no part of it. So she starts to fight and keep telling him to fight her, and he wouldn't. He wouldn't fight her at all. He was like, I'm not going to fight you. He did about 17, 11 flips. I was like, whoa, I got tired watching. I'm like, man, how many flips you going to do? Golly. So, which, by the way, like I said, these choreographed fight scenes are on point.
They were excellent. They were excellent.
Better for those Marvel MCU fans, they're better than Civil War. And Civil War has some good fight scenes, but the fight scenes in this last episode was better.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I would totally agree. And then, at this point, she overpowers him, knocks the shield from his hand, and walks over him, all in Allen Iverson fashion, stepping over Tyrone Lue. She steps over him and she walks over to the gun. And at this point, she's about to let him have it. I'm thinking she's probably gonna shoot him and it's gonna bounce off his suit because definitely it's made in Wakanda. I know it's got to handle some bullets, but you hear the gun go off and guess who it is? It's the disappointment. The one that Big G called. It's Sharon Carter that shot her. The reason why I believe she shot her was to hide her identity. Everybody who she was died in this scene.
Yeah.
Right?
Because Batroc was threatening. He was like, if you don't give me 4 times, I'm going to let the world know who you are. And, of course, we knew Carly knew who she was. So, yeah, that wasn't no, I'm trying to save Sam. Nah, she's trying to save herself.
Absolutely.
Both of these people that knew who she was and could ID her.
Yeah, the MCU, man, it's a little different for a lot of us because we're used to seeing, one side Hydra, we know they bad. One side Shield, we know they're good. It's a little different for a lot of people, but that's that whole theory that I've been on for like when all this kicked off of Phase 4 of the birth of the anti-hero. The person that's gray. So she's definitely gray. So that's what I seen, man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I agree. I totally agree that the anti-hero, the person who you want to root for but can't root for because they bad, like it's here. We're on that, and everything was like Big G said in the first phase. Everything was definitely black and white, but now I feel like at this point you're gonna get more of the gray areas. With bad guys are going to do good things, and definitely that's going to be prevalent in this next move a lot more than it has been in the past. Now you see your boy with Bucky, and they do something smart. They do something very smart before the end of that scene, and that scene comes to a culmination. You see Bucky and Agent Walker lure the Flag Smashers, the ones that were running, to a corner, and he says a quote from Abraham Lincoln. When he said that quote, it was funny to me for a couple of different reasons, but I think the funniest thing to me was seeing Sam say, like, man, please, at this point, don't do that. Don't do that at all. Please don't do that at all. And I thought that was hilarious. What'd you guys think about that scene?
Yeah, I thought it was funny when he kind of took a dig at old Make-A-Wish. It's like, which is kind of funny. This dude, all the heck mess that he's been, stirring and stuff, and he's gonna quote, of all people, Abraham Lincoln. I just thought that was rather interesting. Of all the people, I would rather see Mussolini or somebody, but you go quote Abraham Lincoln. So I thought that was interesting that he went and Buggy's like, hey, that don't sound good when you do it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
What'd you think, Big G?
Yeah, he it's just true to the character. Go back and check out, like I said, the U.S. agent, super patriot, the building of that character. You know, there's times in the comic book side when he's super patriot before he gets the U.S. agent uniform, where he is going around and quoting things of different presidents and from the Constitution and stuff like that. And he's really the antagonist all along. So I'm glad that they brought that spin of the character into the show, because this guy, if they didn't do anything else, the creators of this show did one heck of a job creating the story of the U.S. agent. They did one heck of a job because they stayed as close as you could or true to form of that comic book character. So definitely, that's him.
I agree, man, totally. I think as much as you disliked him, you liked him. He played this character to a T. When I tell you Wyatt Russell did his job, Wyatt Russell did his job, you guys. I mean, and we should applaud him. I mean, of course, we love to hate him, but I mean, you know, I love to hate Steven or Samuel Jackson and Steven in Django. You know what I mean? When an actor plays their part really well, you end up really disliking that person. And, you know, I mean, we have to give him kudos for that. And you're right. The Lincoln reference, him bringing that out, that's U.S. Agent all day. That's U.S. Agent all day in the comic books. So now we're here and, you know, definitely they've got the Flag Smashers. Carly's dead. You see Sam do something I thought was very unexpected leading up to a really great moment and the culmination of all of this in Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? You see Sam carry her body out. He didn't just leave her body right there. You know, she said, I'm sorry to Sam. And then she died holding Mama Danya's chain, right? And you see Sam take her up, flew her out, laid her on a stretcher gently, still caring about the person she was and still sad about the things that happened in order for her to get there. And immediately, straightway, you didn't see him fly away. You didn't see him run away or shy away. Immediately, he dug into the senators and he started speaking to the senators. Now, this monologue was big for a lot of different reasons, man. This monologue to me was big for a lot of different reasons. You see him talking to the senators, and as he's talking to the senators, you know, he's trying to reason with them, but the first thing that comes out of their mouth is a derogatory term. You know, we're still, the terrorists may have set us back a day or two, but we're still going to go ahead full steam with this. And these terrorists. And he was like, man, please stop calling them this name. He was like, you know, and for you guys who really, I think they could have painted a better picture for you guys, but we really need to let you know what's happening. What happened in the events of Infinity War, half of the world snapped away. Half of the world was gone. Now, 5 years passed in between. So a lot of life was being lived, right, Dane, by people who had survived. Half of the people were still here. If you had the opportunity to still be living, you were still here. And you just kept living. Life went on, right? So there were people who went to abandoned houses and claimed them as their own. Why not? Nobody knew that these people were going to come back. Mm-hmm. So nobody had any earthly idea that these people were going to come back. Now, the writers of Marvel are so creative and so good that you saw this in Spider-Man already. Mm-hmm. You know, Aunt May said that when she came back, somebody was living in their house and Tony Stark had to get him a crib. Yeah. Right? So we know that this problem exists and it happened. And Sam is saying, they asked Sam a question. What do you think the government should pay for these people? That was 5 years ago. And he said, yes. Yeah. Your issue. Right? And he was like, well, you just don't understand. He was like, you're right. I don't. And basically he goes into this monologue. How did this monologue hit you guys? Because I can say what it did to me. But Dame, I'm gonna start with you. How did this monologue hit you?
Man, it was, and once again, they did an excellent job of using this show, specifically this moment, to kind of let us know what we need to see in the world. People have forsaken the simple things called compassion and caring, and it's all about the almighty dollar. Well, you know, everybody trying to keep all they can and can all the rest, but forget the little guy that don't have, you know, forget him. He don't know what I did to, and it's such arrogance involved in these people, this group of people, so powerful. We got all this stuff, and we're gonna pretty much determine what happens with these people's lives. Man, let's reverse the situation. What if you was in their shoes? How would you want somebody to respond to you? And so that's what Sam was doing here, is basically saying, man, look, y'all got the power. He said, man, y'all control the banks. So y'all can tell the banks to do this, do that with the money, but you won't do it because the people in the room is the same people in the same situation as you. They're not like these other people. You don't even allow these other people in the room to hear their side of the story. Y'all are determining what they need, but you don't know what they need. And so, man, it was amazing, bro. I was like, these cats doing once again, you got people here, you know, that might not like that whole, well, I watch these shows for entertainment, you know, why are they bringing politics? Because that's the reason. Because your heart is so cold to what's going on in the world that you had this one-sided vision of how things should be, just forget everybody else. It's like, man, that's like I said, where's the compassion? Where's the desire to want to be something better to the other man before you are to yourself? So that's what I got out of it, man.
Yep. And what about you, Big G?
Man, Dame hit the nail on the head. You know, the issue is that, and I'm gonna say this first. This is the reason why Steve Rogers picked Sam Wilson to carry the mantle. It was for this moment. All the fighting and the character building and his transformation and his struggle, because y'all, you know, as far as the depth of his character, man, he had some issues. You know, he even made that reference point in his conversation where he said, you think I don't feel this? You think I don't understand that I'm a black man that's carrying the stars and stripes, that I'm carrying the shield and that I'm fighting? And you don't think I don't feel all eyes on me? He made that reference point. So, but there was the reason why he picked it. He picked him because he knew the inside of his heart of hearts that he would have the character to stand up against oppression. You know, one of the big things that drew me to Falcon as being one of my favorite characters, or now the new Captain America, is that if you go back through all his scenes and everything he's ever talked about in the MCU, Falcon has never been scared to speak truth to power. And I love the fact that this guy took this moment, this time, to speak truth to power. Now, the issue is, or the problem is that were they listening? And that's what's happening in our world today. There's a lot of people that have the courage to speak truth to power. But the issue is, are you listening? So I hope that Marvel and their creators were able to talk to the people who have power, you know, and say, hey, listen, look, man, we are a world that's diverse. We are a world that's full up with different people. We are a world of people that's hurting. I mean, I don't want to bring the whole pandemic issue into the show, but it's right here and live and now. There are people across this in our border, United States of America, man, that's hurting, man, and they need help. And we got to show compassion. We have to show care. We just have to just show love for our fellow human being. And this is something that's been going along a long time, for a long time. And so I hope now, as we see the MCU progress and move forward and changing and our viewpoints and thinking, I hope that trickles down to all of us in our everyday lives. You know, show a little care, show a little compassion for the human, the man next to you, because you never know, they might need it. You know, they just saying thank you, opening up the door, helping somebody is something that they might need just to make it to the next day. And so that was personified in Sam Wilson's character.
You know, fellas, there's something that I want to point out, and that's, man, what you said, BG, is so powerful, man. Something that I think of that we kind of laugh and jest at when we look at the Avengers movies, but Loki said that he had come to set people free from freedom. And sometimes I think that's people's biggest bondage is I'm free. You hear that? I'm free. So you're free to walk over other people, basically, you're saying.
Yeah.
Your freedom is so important to you that you're saying, forget everybody else. I'm free to do what I want to do. And that's a lot of times, man, that's what it has people in bondage to that not having that compassion is because I want we see people tripping off of people wearing masks. I mean, we made a mask an enemy. You know what I'm saying? And people wearing a mask an enemy. That's just an example. But once again, it's my freedom. You infringing on my freedom. No, we're not. We're trying to save your behind. You know what I'm saying? But you done made, at the cost of your freedom, quote unquote, so that's why, Triple Loki saying I came to, set people free from freedom. It might have been a good thing.
Yeah. And, I'm not going to repeat what you guys have said because it was awesome. It was excellent. And, definitely in this whole thing, Sam just basically was saying, hey, man, in order to understand a person's plight, you need to include them. If you're going to do something for them, include them, period, point blank. Understanding comes when you care enough to include. And when you don't care enough to include, you'll never gain understanding. You'll never know what their plight really is, right? And so we move forward, and Sam, after he finished addressing them, and he said, "Hey, you don't want to see Carly 2.0." You know what I mean? Because when if every time you see a dictator, or every time you see a separatist, or every time you see what Zemo called, definitely a supremacist, when they fail, another one steps up to take the mantle, and he's even worse than the first one. Just is what it is, because he feels like, where you failed at is you were too nice. You know what I'm saying? So I got to go and do it. And Sam has enough wherewithal to go from there. So you see, while he's making his monologue, Isaiah Bradley and Elijah at the table eating, and you see the transformation come over. And this was a great moment for me, man. It was a great moment because you saw him when he was talking about, hey, I'm not blonde hair, I'm not blue eyes, I ain't got super serum, I'm just a regular guy. And what I got, though, what I have is this belief that we can be better. You know what I'm saying?
That was awesome line right there, bro.
Awesome line. He was like, man, I don't have none of that other stuff that you got. I ain't got the gadgets and the gadgets. I'm not Batman. But basically what I do have is this belief that we could be better. And we know belief is a strong thing, right?
Yeah.
And so at that moment, you see it come over Isaiah Bradley, and he's like, man, and he even, once we leave this place, first and foremost, I can't leave without hitting this thing. I got to hit it, and then I'm going to go to Isaiah Bradley. When he was walking off after he had finished, and he turned and he walked, he kind of stepped and looked at Agent Walker like, you make me sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, you disgust me. I felt the look. And then when he looked at Bucky, you saw Bucky during this whole monologue just drinking it in like, man, that's my guy. That's my dude. That's my boy. He even called him Cap.
Sure did.
And definitely he said, man, I stopped lifting. I started texting after you said something about you being black. I was laughing. I said, Bucky is wild. Bucky is wild. And then here we go with old shady Agent Carter just over here playing like, I'm hurt. Oh, yeah. And it's just at this point, I'm sitting here shaking my head at Sharon. I'm like, you're a disappointment to the Carters. They don't want you back. We're not welcoming this Carter back. Get out. we don't want this Carter.
No.
And so then the very next scene, we have Sam at Isaiah's place. Bro, when I say this one broke me even more than Bucky going to the Asian gentleman's house and confessing the fact that he killed his son as the Winter Soldier. This scene broke me, man. I mean, I was up there and I almost got a little misty-eyed. I was like, man, somebody cutting onions in here, man, because I'm starting to tear up. Yeah. But, definitely Isaiah Bradley called him special. He said, what do you want? So first of all, Let me tell y'all something. Let's stop. I got to stop because I can't just move past this. This young boy right here is talking real reckless, man. He come to the door. He's like, "What you want, Black Falcon?" You know what I'm saying? I mean, he talking like real tough. So I'm gonna tell you, youngster gotta have some type of powers and abilities that we don't know about. Because youngster talk real tough every time. He was like, "Man, you need to learn some manners." And he was like, "Well, he's not Falcon no more." Basically saying, "This is Captain America." And Isaiah Bradley told him, he said, "Man, I almost believe you almost got me with that stuff you were saying, man. You almost got me." And he goes on and he takes him to the Smithsonian. And there you see a statue of him there at the Smithsonian. And it blessed my heart, man.
That was awesome.
One of the things that Isaiah was saying is, man, they erased me. They erased me from history. But guess what Sam did? Sam
made it right.
Sure, Sam made sure that they know you now. And it's the same thing that I believe Captain America would have done. What do you guys think?
Big G might elaborate on this, but I believe that's based on the comic, man. I believe 100%. Falcon had a role in Isaiah Bradley being recognized for what he did, man. They did it a little differently because they put it inside of Captain America's enshrinement in the smoke, which was perfect the way they set it up in the MCU. But I believe in the comic they actually had a whole ceremony and everything, and so that was awesome to see that paid off, man. But definitely, Ahmad, it was very emotional, and I think it was very fitting bookend to kind of show you the restoration to Isaiah that what things can be better, because in his mind he never saw in that they could actually. You see him embracing Sam for what he did, man, because as far as he was concerned, this is a chapter that will never be rewritten.
Yeah. The next day, I didn't stay up and watch it. I got up Friday morning early and watched it before I went to work, and I got really emotional with it because I had a conversation the night before about how many. Because I'm a counselor in trade by profession, and there's a lot of people that feel like they're erased. Not just people in the military, but just like people feel like their stuff doesn't count, And so after I got done with my training and whatnot, I got an opportunity to talk to a couple of my family members that are, military guys and retired and all whatever else. And they said that scene moved them to the point to where they had hope again, And then I talked to a lot of other people about that scene, and they said that they had hope again, just based on a scene in a movie. That's why I said you never know what really impacts people, man, and really gives them hope, because without hope, we're all gone anyway. What's the point of doing what we do unless we have hope? So that was like real deep. But to give the homage to the comic book, I mean, the understanding of how Sam Wilson is a true link for Captain America and the lineage of Captain America. And then for him to go back and reach for Isaiah Bradley and to pull him into that lineage, man, there was a line that was said during that point where Isaiah Bradley looked at Sam and he said, you ain't no Malcolm or no Martin, but man, you got that thing, man. You special. You got that thing that nobody else. It's a God-given ability. You have something that no military could train you for, that no preparation could give you, that no super soldier formula could ever change and do for you. You have something that is just unbelievable. And so, like I said, I was moved. It even to a point in me, because I try to be optimistic at all times, but I was like, man, there's hope. There's hope no matter what. And it's a fictional character, but to just believe and know right now, because I'm just going to be honest, y'all, the last year and a half has been hard for a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and me included, And so to have that stirred up in me again, to just know that there's hope even beyond where my current condition is. And I'm not hurting for anything, so don't think that. But, for him to say that, like, stirred it up amongst everybody. My wife even said that she's talking about making this maybe a must watch for some of the students and stuff she deals with to talk about racial inequality and just to give people an opportunity to discuss stuff openly concerning all these areas of hate that we have in this country right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think honestly, G man, you know, inequality as a whole, racial inequality, economic inequality, when you have this social inequality, all of this is there, right? It's all because racism, that's a system. You know what I'm saying? Socialism, that's a system. You know, capitalism, that's a system. These systems need to be addressed. And I think, like I said, they did a great job, Dane, in addressing these systems, man. And you know, literally, so we had that scene with Sam and you know, Isaiah Bradley, and definitely it's one of the things that I wanted to highlight. But I need to say one thing before we leave, because we're getting ready to leave. We're getting ready to wrap up another marvelous episode. But bruh, Bucky is like you know, I mean, after Bucky went and took care of the stuff with the Asian guy, and you know, he telling me, you know, he came to the cookout. You know, like,
he's part of the family, bro.
Yeah, man.
He's part of the family.
No, I think it's a little bit more, man. I mean,
he wants that sister.
Yeah, Bucky was smiling too hard at his sister. You know what I'm saying? He was smiling a little too hard.
He wants the sister, man.
I'm just saying, they at the table.
Hey, man, I keep trying to tell you. Bucky spent all that time in Wakanda. He like chocolate now, man.
Hey, but listen. On a serious tip, man, that is what our world is becoming. Our world, our United States of America is becoming a big melting pot, man.
And that's beautiful.
You know, and that's what our forefathers was talking about a long time ago.
Hey,
you know, for us to be a melting pot and us to respect each other and include each other in our culture.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's just I'm just saying.
I agree.
I love that. I love that.
I agree, G.
Hey, I love it myself, but I'm just saying. The brother Sam better watch out. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, he went from
being
being
106-year-old brother-in-law.
He went from being sad with Yuri to sure was smiling with Sam's sister, boy. He was happy.
Yeah.
Oh and my God.
I'm with it.
And then the other thing that we see is this. What for y'all, for those of y'all who don't know what this is, when they mention the raft, that's the raft, right? That's the raft. And I wanted to make sure that we highlighted that. And also this guy, like I said, he was definitely pulling some strings, but I think he wasn't just pulling strings by himself. We saw this too. And I do believe that Val here is pulling some scenes. She's pulling some strings behind the scenes, working with Zemo. And I think Zemo is working with her as well. That raft is not a good place to be. And we know who runs the raft, y'all.
Thunderbolt
Ross. He runs that raft. So if you think by any means or matters that he don't have his hands in some of this stuff, you got another thing coming. We just have not seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet. Conspiracy theory. And then
this is the setup for the Dark Avengers.
Thunderbolts.
The Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts. I promise y'all this is the setup for it.
Yeah, man. And then lastly, we saw the show go from this to this. And to me, this was the culmination of it all, man. You know, it's no longer Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So we officially saw the brand change, the name change, and man, this was a great series. Of course, we know the hidden scene here was Agent Carter calling somebody on the phone. We've already talked about this. We don't know who she was.
She got her pardon too, so that makes her even more dangerous.
Right. But the last thing I do have to point out with Agent Walker, right? He was so excited to get another suit. And he was like, I'm back, baby. I'm back. He ain't changed one bit. He ain't changed one bit. And none of that he just did, and this is to G's point, when we're seeing the anti-hero, none of this has changed him at all. None of it. It's still all about him.
I'm back.
I'm
back. Well, Val said it. Val said things are about to get real weird. And she said, we're not going to need a Captain America anymore. We're going to need a U.S. agent. So I'm telling y'all, this is all set up. I mean, I'm hyped because it's straight comic book land now. You know, we're going to see the Thunderbolts, the Dark Avengers. There's a team forming in the background. So you guys know and understand. And it's coming real fast.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Well, man, we have thoroughly enjoyed being here with you guys today and breaking down this last episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm sad to see it end, man. But it's
not over. It's not over. We've already got a green lit movie, Captain America 4.
Talk to us about that real quick.
It's just a real brief. It's real brief. They immediately after the show ended, there was a news story that came out a couple of hours later, said that they've already green lit a Captain America 4 with Sam being at the helm of Captain America. Same writers that we had for this shows for this series. They're going to be the main writers for the movie. Now, they didn't say a timeline, but it's in the works. So
yeah,
and that's definite. But the show is over. The show is over. Now, we were supposed to have right after this. We were supposed to have Black Widow, but it didn't work out that way. Dates got pushed back, but we will have it a little bit later on in the year.
We will have Loki, which we're gonna be breaking down here. That's the next show in about the next several weeks or so. So
yeah, definitely. But you'll be able to come back. We're definitely gonna have Marvelous Talk news. You're gonna see the Rabbit Hole, a couple of episodes of that, and we're gonna always have great content for you here, man. But if you enjoy what you did watch today, make sure that you like and subscribe on all of our social media channels. Please go to it, Marvelous Talk on TikTok, Marvelous Talk on YouTube. Make sure you check us out here on Twitch. Man, definitely we enjoy having and spending this hour with you guys, man. But for right now, it's your main man, Mod, your boy, Big G, and also Dane. We are out of here, man. Till next time.
Peace.